David 4040 here with another ship's roster review. This time it is for Nathan in Porkins Alliance. And Nathan, what I'm going to do for you is to suggest a current fleet you should be using and maybe some future paths to go forward. Hopefully, stuff that as a free to play player is an easily accessible path and won't feel like you're going a route that will harm you, like some people do feel that way with Geos. And hopefully, you'll be able to get into the top 100 or even 50 eventually, if not top 10, if you develop out these fleets based off the current fleet arena metas. On top of that, these fleets should be really helpful in um, the hard nodes for ships, as they're often some of the fleets you use to beat those. So let's get started. So first thing off, when I look at your capital ships here, you don't have Chimera yet. And what's going to be required to get Chimera is Home 1, Phoenix, and Ghost, plus 3 other Rebel ships. So you need to be working on trying to beat the Home 1 6-star battle, so you can 6-star it, which means you need to work on leveling up some of the skills and abilities for Akbar, and leveling up Akbar to level 85 here when it comes to leveling up a capital ship. Um, and that should be able to help you beat that challenge, hopefully. Uh, it is one of the hardest challenges in the game, I believe. It's been forever since I played it, and Ships has updated since I played it, so I can't give you too much in terms of tips for it, but you do want to work on developing out your Akbar and your Home 1. You've developed out your Executrix decently, which is great. Executrix is one of the best ships, capital ships in the game. So if you want to maybe work on the victory at all costs before going over Akbar, feel free. You already got it at level 85, and it's probably the capital ship you want to currently be using. Work on Tarkin if you want, but it's looking pretty good. I see you've developed out Endurance, just unless you plan on going to get Anakin's paying and getting Anakin's new starfighter, there's or trying to use Endurance for territory wars. It has a lot more limited use compared to the other capital ships. So I would just stop developing this and focus on the others, as Home 1 and Executrix are going to be used a lot more. So there's no reason to be trying to put your capital ship ability mats into Endurance and leveling it up. When Home 1 here, you need to get Chimera, which is the best, in my opinion, capital ship in the game. And you already have a I believe you already have a Gear 12 Grand Admiral Thrawn. Let's just look at your characters here. Yeah, with 1 Zeta, which means if you get the Chimera, you're pretty much set for capital ships once you level up the Chimera's abilities. Um, at least when it comes to Arena. I mean, you may want to have Tarkin leveled up more for Arena, but you will have one of the better capital ships in the game once you get there. So I would focus on Home 1 so that you can get Chimera. Now let's go and put together your starting 3 ships. Now I see that you have TIE Advanced, almost 7-star, with a Gear 12 Darth Vader, which is excellent. You don't have any Zetas on Darth Vader, but that's fine. And his mods are all looking great. Maybe level up his Inspiring Fear to level 7 of 8. I know you probably don't use it, but it does help him out. But other than getting the 7-star, TIE Advance is going to be an excellent starting ship for you. It's one of your best ships in the game right now. And you don't really have the makeup for a fleet yet that would use him as a reinforcement. So that means he will be best served in that position. Now, looking at your tanks, the best tanks in the game are Sun Fac and Houndstooth. and Biggs. Biggs is the one that you have currently leveled up, which means you're going to want to gear your Biggs a little bit more. Gearing Biggs really helps because he gets more health and protection, and continue working on the stars for Biggs. So you're on your path here. Maybe level up Biggs to level 85 if you can. That would really help. Just make sure you're looking at ships fleet arena just as you do squad arena. You appear to have a very good squad arena team, so if you look at ships in the same light, it should hopefully help you out significantly. And I also see ships as very much more easily free to play, friendly. But your Biggs is looking fine. Just maybe gear, whatnot, and use him alongside TIE Advance in your starting fleet. Now, there's traditionally two other ships used alongside TIE Advance and Biggs in a starting fleet. And these are going to be Ghost and Imperial TIE Fighter. As a free-to-play player, I would imagine the more appealing ship for you to work on is going to be the Ghost. I don't know how well this works under Tarkin Lead. This is traditionally a starting fleet that you would use under Chimera instead of the Executrix, but it's what I'm going to suggest because I think you need to gear up these Phoenix characters. They are excellent characters. You can use them in territory battles. They can do an okay amount of damage in heroic Sith. Not great, but they can do a little bit, which means it'll help you out there. Level the ship up to 85, and it looks like you're going to have to work on the star level anyhow, so you can get the Chimera 7-star. So just continue working on that. And it's looking pretty good if you do that. So for your starting fleet, I'm saying Executrix for your capital ship while working on Home 1 so you can eventually get the Chimera. And once you get the Chimera and level up its abilities a little bit, you'll probably want to replace the Executrix with it for the time being. And then TIE Advance, Biggs, and Ghost. Now, the next thing is going to be reinforcements. I don't remember if you get 2 or 3 reinforcements with a 5-star capital ship, so I'm going to suggest 3 different reinforcements that will hopefully help you out. And the first one, going off the Ghost, is going to be the Phantom 2. The best thing about the Phantom 2 is 2 abilities it has, Covert Strike and Maximum Impact. Now, before you start using it as a reinforcement, you really do need to max out Covert Strike. Because what Covert Strike does is reduce the reinforcement, calling reinforcement ability on your capital ship by 1, meaning the next turn you can immediately call in another ship. And generally, having more ships than your opponent is always better, because if you have more ships, you're taking more turns, dealing more damage, and able to kill them a lot faster. It may seem weaker sometimes, but it generally is better. So max out Covert Strike. That should be probably the very next thing you do. Even under leveled Phantom can do great simply because of Covert Strike, and it can put itself under stealth. But the next thing you want to look at here is Maximum Impact, because Maximum Impact can do a heck of a lot of damage. And considering you have Ezra decently geared up, that means, yeah, to gear 10, that's going to help, and you have the ability. But I would suggest taking Ezra to at least gear 11, if not 12 if you can. You're also going to want to 7-star Chopper and gear up Chopper a little bit. I know that may hurt, you already have Grand Admiral Thrawn, but Chopper is actually better than Sabine on a Phoenix team anyhow. So you probably want that for some of the PvE style stuff, and it's a lot more, he's a lot better on defense, a lot more annoying to deal with than Sabine. I would always take battle a Phoenix team with Sabine over Chopper anyhow. So, just get Chopper up to 7-star, level 85, and gear him up. I would suggest gearing up all your Phoenix at least gear 11 once you have the capability of easily doing that. But the more you put into them, Again, continue working on 7 starring the Phantom so that you can eventually get the Chimera. So there's your first reinforcement, is the Phantom, once you get Covert Strike up. Now for a second reinforcement, that might be a little bit more difficult, but let's look at traditional reinforcement that is going to be helpful for eventually getting Chewbacca if you work on him. And that's going to be the Slave 1 here. It looks like you're starting up the Slave 1, which is excellent. You haven't put any of his abilities here, but you want to work on doing that with Phantom 2 first. Make sure you're always putting those reinforcement ability mats and characters you're actually using in reinforcements rather than ones that are simply in your ship fleets or ones you plan on eventually using in reinforcement. So anyhow, a Slave 1 is great as a reinforcement. It taunts, so if your Biggs is dead, that will help. He's an attacker, so he's going to be dealing lots of damage as he's counterattacking, and he's just annoying to encounter on as a reinforcement. That's really what it is with Slave 1, and he deals a good bit of damage. Not great like TIE Advance or Phantom on its maximum impact special, but overall it's really good. So I would suggest Slave 1 as a potential reinforcement. One for the time being that could be good for you is Wedge Antilles, simply because you have him leveled up, but an even better one that's also traditional is Scimitar, because Scimitar can put a false taunt on someone and gives them extra. It's especially good, however, if you use Imperial TIE Fighter, which I'm not currently suggesting for you. And then if you ever worked on Houndstooth or Sunfac, they're both good reinforcements as well. It's always great to have a tank in your reinforcement because tanks can be really annoying to deal with after you just killed their last tank. But for the moment, some good reinforcements for you to look at using would be Phantom 2, Scimitar, Wedge, and Slave 1. Wedge, though, in the long term will not be a great reinforcement. You just have Wedge decently geared and leveled up at the moment, which is why I'm suggesting him. So for your fleet, I'm suggesting you use Executrix with TIE Advance, Biggs, and Ghost. And the goal here is to put using Ghost to put TIE Advance under Stealth so that they're forced to target Biggs. And the faster and more work you put into Ghost, the faster you'll get. So hopefully it goes before your TIE Advance in order to do that. If you want to, you could use the TIE Advance instead and hope to get target locks so that Biggs goes first. And then for reinforcements, use Phantom, Slave 1, or if you want, you can throw in Scimitar or Wedge until you level up the Slave 1 or Phantom some more. Now, looking into your future for ships, what you need to be focused on first and foremost is getting the Chimera. So that obviously first means getting the home one up to 7-star so that you can get there. So that may take a little while because you have to wait months after months in order to get the shards for home 1. But that also means getting 5 rebel ships. So I've already suggested for you 4 different rebel ships to put into your main fleet with Wedge, Ghost, Biggs, and Phantom. So you should be working on 7-starring those ships anyhow. That leaves 2 other options. You have Cassian's U-Wing or Bistan's U-Wing. Now the easiest option for you to go along would be Cassian's U-Wing, just because you've already put more work into the characters and whatnot for it. And you can complete the event using Cassian's U-Wing. I know it because I have. Bistan's U-Wing is probably the better ship because Bistan's U-Wing is essentially a replacement for TIE Advance. However, ultimately they're both great ships and they're both worth it. So if you put the work into 7-starring these characters, 7-starring the ship, you hopefully won't regret it. You at least need the ship 7-star. I don't know how developed you need the characters out, but at least 7-star and level 85 the ship so you can eventually get the Chimera. Now, the next thing you need to work out is the fleet I've suggested to you is not current meta. It can fight off the meta and occasionally win, but you're going to have more of a lose rate than not. Although I can tell it looks like you're more of an earlier player in this game, so you hopefully shouldn't be facing Geos or the other teams that are currently in the meta. I'm not going to suggest you go after Geos, actually, because they're not, as they may hold part of the meta in ships, they're not the current future of the meta. So if you want to start looking at what the current future of the meta is, and also something that's going to help you out in the long run, you want to look at some of the bounty hunter ships here, namely Xanadu Blood and Houndstooth. What's great about these two is Bossk and Cad Bane, along with Boba Fett, who I suggested earlier to develop, will all go towards helping you get Chewbacca. So it's not going to be a waste to level up these characters. On top of that, Houndstooth is an excellent tank in the game. So having him, that means if you're not using him in the starting lineup where he's a really good ship, you can use him as a reinforcement, which is just as good. Xanadu Blood, if you're going to get Houndstooth up 7-star, that's when Xanadu Blood becomes worth getting up to 7-star, leveling up Cad Bane. And Cad Bane's a really easy character to get to 7-star because he's found in Galactic War. Bossk and Houndstooth, not so much, but Bossk really is a necessary character for the Chewbacca event since he's the only tank for bounty hunters. So in the long run, I suggest you look at potentially developing these two ships. It's worth potentially looking at developing the IG-2000 if you're going to develop the other bounty hunter ships, but not as necessary. The Houndstooth also works great as a starting ship in a Geo's fleet if you ever wanted to go that way. So that's just some things to think about for the future of the meta ships. I haven't really played with either of these two ships, so I don't know exactly how the fleets with them works. But if you were going to go after those two, that would make the Ghost a necessary gear and level as well, because the Ghost is typically used with them in the meta. So I hope that helps right there. And then with capital ships, after you get Chimera up, you can work on Executrix, preferably, leveling up its abilities some more if you can, or Home 1 after that again. Unless you notice that Endurance is starting to become meta, I really suggest not putting too much effort into it. I've barely put effort into mine currently. I'm about to start putting some effort into that. That's just because I've developed up my other capital ships, basically. Nathan, I hope this helps. Just remember the starting fleet I'm suggesting to you is Executrix with TIE Advance, Biggs, and Ghost, and then reinforcements of Phantom 2, Slave 1, Scimitar, and Wedge as possibilities. So I really hope this helps you, Nathan. If you have any questions, direct message me. And as I said, I tried to make this fleet in a way that's easiest for you to progress for, that will hopefully help you in the game outside of just ships. So talk to you later. And again, ask me if you need help. Bye.